loves a good evolution, but unfortunately, we haven't seen a new evolution since Sylveon in Gen 6. Now, there are 10 Pokemon types that we haven't seen yet, and if you think you've seen good evolution artwork before, think again. Now, I have scoured the internet for the best fake evolution artwork, and I would sell my soul if some of these became real in future games. I also have 3 bonus categories of extra evolutions, so make sure you hang around to the end of the video to catch those as well, because they are awesome. Let's go. The first typing we'll look at is the bug typing, which a lot of people really like. Now, as you can see, we've got 4 evolutions for bug that we're going to be looking at today. In my opinion, there's 3 things that we need for a really good evolution. You need a good design or idea, you need the good execution in the artwork, and of course, you need a really good name as well. Start with Inseon. Of course, they all have to end in Eon for the evolution. And this looks really, really interesting. I like that the tail almost looks like a scorpion tail in a way, but it's got butterfly wings as the ears, which is really cool. I like that a lot. It's also got antenna as well, so lots of features of bugs. Leopardon is kind of cool as well. Again, we've got the butterfly looking ears. It actually kind of looks like a bird tail, maybe, for the tail, which is interesting. And then we have another Leopardon as well. Again, we've got really big, maybe like moth features, I think, in this one. Like, it's got the fuzziness around the neck. It's got moth features for the ears as well. And it says, evolves from Eevee when leveled up at night while holding silk. And then this one doesn't have a name, but I think is very interesting as well. I think the eyes are really cool. And again, the main feature being the ears looking like a butterfly or something like that. Almost kind of look like eyes as well, actually. Kind of evil looking eyes. And there are bug types. I think Inseon is my favorite. I think just the execution of the artwork. Next is the dragon typing. There's some very different kind of designs and different inspirations, which I think is really cool. First of all, Draconian, which I really like the name. That's really nice. But it definitely has a lot of dragon features, which are really cool too. Looks like it's got scales. It's got spikes along its tail. It's got horns. It looks very evil looking. It's even got like those little wing bits on the elbow. Interesting that it's got like a big beard, maybe like an elder kind of dragon, giving me Parthenax vibes over here. This one looks really interesting as well. This one looks like Falcor from the Neverending Story, which is really cool. Got a very, very long tail. And I love that the eyes have got stars in them. That's really interesting as well. Definitely a friendlier version of a dragon than what we had just before. Quetzalcoatl is very interesting. Maybe it's the background, but definitely looks very Egyptian. Definitely got some of those features as well. It looks like it's got, you know, the long tail as evolutions do. It's interesting. It's got like the gold around the tail and back legs as well. Scaleon is pretty cool too. This one looks a lot like Salamence. It might just be the colors, which is not too bad. I don't mind that. It definitely looks like it's got some dragon features. Again, the long tail, the spikes, the horns. And Wyvion is very cool. This one looks like just a whole mess of different things all together. It looks like it's got goat features, maybe with the beard and the fluffy bits of the tail, or maybe from Eevee. It's got antlers or horns, kind of like deer antlers rather than spiky horns. Looks like it might have scales, particularly in the back there, but looks very happy for a dragon. And there's our dragon types. I feel maybe Draconian is my favorite here, but I do love the one that's like Falcor looking as well if we had a friendlier version. Fighting type next. So we've got 4 that we've got to look at. First of all is Champion, which is a fantastic name. I think just merging Champion, but also the evolution, the Eon at the end is perfect. I feel like there's a lot missing from this one. It's kind of cool how it's got chunks missing from its ears, like it was in a fight or something. And it's obviously got those wraps around the legs as well. Not much of a tail though. Evolutions traditionally have quite long tails. Another Champion. This one I think is fantastic. Again, it's got the straps, but it's also missing part of its ear. It's got a big scar on its face. Looks like it's been in a lot of battles. I think the tail is very, very cool as well. Hysterion is very interesting. A kind of a different vibe from a fighter, even though it's some fighting type. This one kind of looks like a caveman. It does have that scar over its eye, but I love the bones that are in its tail as well. Definitely looks like a caveman. Caradion is very interesting. I don't know about the whole fists in the ears thing. It looks like Diggersby or Machamp, but there are our fighting types. I think I'm going to choose Champion, the middle Champion. That one looks fantastic. I love that, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. Flying type next. We have quite a few here. That's 6 different flying types to look at. First of all, Galeon, which is interesting. That one definitely looks like a Braviary. It looks like if you had some kind of evolution mixed with a Braviary. The colors, the tail, the wings / ears. Celestion is very cool. Definitely grabbing more like a cloud kind kind of vibe here with the tail and the part around the chest, but the ears are giant wings, which is very cool as well. I do like that a lot. Definitely looks like a sleek kind of Pokemon. Aerion, not too bad, not too bad. Not as good as Celestion, but still trying to fit that vibe of clouds. Maybe it's just the coloring. Although it does have those whiskers, which are maybe lightning bolt shapes, and it's got the yellow in the ears and the eyes. Maybe it's more thunder and lightning rather than just clouds. Hawkeion is kind of different, obviously based on a hawk. We've got those giant wings for ears, but the tail as well has got a hawk tail, which is very cool. Nimbion, okay, another one that's based on a cloud, but definitely a different kind of cloud. It doesn't look so sleek in the design. It's definitely more like a fluffy, cute, cuddly kind of cloud. Twistion is not too bad. I do like the chest cloud parts, and it's got the long ears again. I'm not sure where the green is coming from. Looks kind of, I don't know, I'm getting like rabbit vibes. Maybe it's just the color in the ears. But there are flying types. It's kind of hard to choose, actually. I really like Galeon, and I really like Celestion. I think I'll pick Celestion as my favorite if we could have a flying evolution. Ghost next. I know a lot of people really want a good ghost type, and we've got 6 to look at here. First of all, Eeveelutions, which is kind of cool. I do like the bells. The color choices are really cool. I really like that tail. The tail almost looks like a Thievul tail. At level 25, fainting battle against a ghost type. So you have to faint the Eevee. Purposely has to lose the battle and faint for it to evolve. That is a really interesting way to evolve it. I do like that. Next is Occuleon, which is very cool. Got the Phantom of the Opera vibe going on with one of those eyes, and definitely looks like a very solemn Pokemon. Looks like one that's not going to smile. Maybe some yin and yang in here as well with the ears. Kabukion is an interesting one. Definitely looks Japanese inspired. Looks quite different to most of the other evolutions that we see. Omeon is very cool. A different kind of look from just like being solemn or mysterious. This is now going to a bit scary or a bit creepy, based on Omen, the name, which I think is really cool as well. I love it's got like a purple flame, kind of like a Litwick. The face has got like a bit of a skull inspiredness to it, which is good too, but almost kind of looks maybe like a bit like a skeleton, especially the stripes that are on the ribs. And another kind of spooky one, Spectreon. I love this one. This one looks really cool. I love how like part of it is missing. Like you can't quite see the tail, you can't quite see how the legs are connected, similar to what happened with Omeon, where you've got like ribs on the back, like a bit of a skeleton. Obviously you've got the skull that's the main feature. Might be a bit too scary for a Pokemon game, but that looks really cool. Another one called Eeveelutions. I had to look up what that meant because I've never heard of that before, and that just means a spirit. So that makes sense for this sort of name. This one looks really cool. It looks like it's got a few different inspirations. Again, we've got that purple flame on the tail. We've got some wrappings around it, maybe like a mummy. And the mouth kind of looks like maybe a zombie kind of mouth as well. But then we've also got markings on that look like a skeleton. So lots of different spooky inspirations there. Lots of really good ghost ones here. Maybe the top right, Eeveelutions, or maybe Omeon might be the ones that I would choose. Ground type next. We've got Gridion or we've got Sphinxion, so 2 names to choose from here. The first Gridion kind of looks kind of fluffy, or maybe it's meant to be like dirty or muddy. I know, it definitely looks fluffy and cuddly and maybe like a bunny, so I'm not quite sure about this one. Not too bad as well. Definitely kind of patchy, which is interesting. I wonder if it's trying to get different aspects of ground, like you've got your sand, your dirt, your mud, your rock maybe in it. Sphinxion is very cool. Obviously Egyptian inspired, obviously by the Sphinx. So that looks really cool too, because if you think of Egypt, you think of sand and you think of the deserts and stuff. So that makes sense for a ground type to get that sort of inspiration. It's got big ears as an evolution should, but has a small tail, which is kind of interesting, but does have the gold bangles around it. I like how it's got like a little Pokeball on the forehead too. And then we've got another Sphinxion here. This one looking maybe a bit more of an elegant kind of look compared to the other one, but lots of Egyptian inspirations in here. We can see that we've got the Cleopatra hair. We've got the necklace. It's got an ankh as the tail. I love that it's got your mask on its forehead as well. So really good looking ground ones there. I really like the Sphinxions. I think the one that's at the top would be my favorite there. Normal type. Now, a lot of people say that normal shouldn't be an evolution because we have Eevee, which I actually agree with, but we've got to look at some normal types as well. We've got some Eeveeons here. So this is kind of like not a bad way to look at it. It's like an Eevee, but it definitely looks a bit more mature and bigger and grown up. Another Eeveeon. This one definitely looks friendlier and very, very cute. I like this one a lot. Nice and fluffy. Looks kind of cuddly. This one's different. This one's called Varietion, which doesn't roll off the tongue very nicely, but it doesn't look just like an Eevee, which I think is cool. Varietion based on a variety of different things, so it could have some interesting moves. And then we've got another Eevee here as well, which is very interesting. It looks like we've got a female and a male type. Female having the heart-shaped tail, male having more of a stripy, long, spiky tail. And I think maybe the bottom middle is the one that I like the best. It just looks the cutest and the friendliest, I think. Now, before we get to the poison typing next, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't before for lots more Pokemon stuff, but also to check out some of these artists. Now, there were too many to list individually, but most of them have a watermark or some kind of credit or their name on the pictures, so go and check them out. All right, let's get back to it. Poison type is next, which is going to be really cool because there's a few different inspirations here. Definitely going a purple theme for poison, of course. First one is Mution, obviously based off Mutate, which I think is a really cool idea. I love the spikes coming off the tail and how it twists and mutates together. That one definitely looks very poisonous, giving us vibes of like thorns on a bush. Next is Pernicion, which looks incredible. It looks very different from any evolution that we've seen because it's got these spiky tentacles coming out of its tail, which is really, really interesting. Obviously, we've got our green to symbolize poison or venom in some way. Poison, I'm not a fan of that name, but I do love the design and the inspiration behind it being poisonous mushrooms in a way. Scorpion, I think, is a fantastic name. Similar artists to what we've seen a few times today. So Scorpion, obviously, and Poison and Eeveelution to Scorpion. I really like that the tail looks like a scorpion tail. It's got the stinger, but apart from the tail, the rest of it, I feel is lacking a little bit, unfortunately. I almost want to use this idea and this name with some of the other ones we looked at. So looking at these, I think I like Mution. I love the name Scorpion. That's my favorite name. But I think Mution is very, very cool. All four of these are fantastic in their own ways and all very, very different. All right, Rock next. We've got 4 different ones here, but all looking very different. They have different inspirations again. First of all, Gemion, obviously based on gems. Kind of looks like a Carbink. So that would be interesting if there was some kind of relation there, like level Eevee up while you're holding a Carbink in your party or something like that. Mountain is not too bad. Not the biggest fan of the name. The tail is kind of nice. I do like the horns. The horns look like rocks. Obsidian, again, fantastic name, and definitely more of a darker obsidian look here rather than the light brown rock kind of look. You leveled up with stealth rocks on the field to evolve it. And Tricerion, obviously based on a dinosaur, which is another very interesting look, a prehistoric kind of evolution here. You've got the spikes like a Stegosaurus. You've got that club tail as a weapon. It's got little horns. Really, really cool. This is a tough one here. I think I'm going to choose Obsidian though. That name is amazing, and I think just the look it gives off is really, really cool. Steel next, one of my favorite typings. Very, very cool ones here. We've got Guardian, which the names are insane. I love Guardian. Definitely has to be a protective Pokemon, but it's got a shield on its chest. It's got a helmet on its head. It's got almost like a sharp sword-like tail. It's got armor. It's perfect. I think this is really, really good. Faireon, not too bad as well. Definitely looks like an Aggron, I would say. Aggron inspired. It's got the armor on it, which makes sense for a steel type. This one doesn't have a name, but it's not too bad. It is okay, but I feel it's just a gray evolution. It's lacking some of the features that the other one had. Titanium is very cool as well. I love the idea behind it because it's like a wind-up metal toy, I guess, which is really, really cool, but I'm gonna have to choose Guardian in the bottom left. That is fantastic. I would not change a thing about that one. And now we finished all the 10 typings, so I actually have some different ones. I said we had 3 bonus categories. The first one is miscellaneous, so we have some paradox ones to look at now. So this is a dragon type evolution, but I didn't want to put it in the dragon ones because it's a paradox Pokemon. It's called Feral Gene, which I think looks very prehistoric. I think the eyes and just the vibe it's giving off is definitely one that would be hard to control this Pokemon. And the next one is Iron Friend, which I love. It's a steel type. It looks like one of those old dog robot toys, but I think that looks really cool. And Iron Friend is a fantastic name. I think especially for an Eevee paradox, that really nails it on the head. And the other one is Patreon. I do love that the tail resembles the logo, which is really cool. And I have to use this moment to say that I have a Patreon if you want to support. It's down in the description to get exclusive content not found anywhere else. Out of those ones, I can't choose. The 2 paradoxes are really, really good. Now we've got a lot of dual typing ones. Traditionally, Eevees are a single typing, so to have some dual typing ones, I think is really, really cool. First one is Dark and Psychic. The solar eclipse is called Heliocion, which is really cool and obviously Egyptian inspired again. The tail is kind of interesting. Maybe it's meant to represent the eclipse, so it might be a ball like a moon. Opposite one of that is a Psychic Dark type, which is Selenion. Again, looks Egyptian inspired. The tail is like an ankh. Looks like it's got earrings and markings on it that definitely look moon inspired, but also kind of Egyptian inspired as well. Next, we have Steamion, and there's a few that are coming up that is a really interesting way to evolve it. So if Eevee holds a water stone, but you use a fire stone on it, then it evolves into Steamion, combining the fire and the water together. And that looks really cool. Obviously, very cloud-based in the steam. Marinion, I guess, based on the Mariana's Trench, which is really cool. So it's like a black Vaporeon, but it's got anglerfish inspirations as well. And that is water electric type. Seabion, electric and fire. Kind of looks like a lion with a big fiery main, which is not too bad. Luxion is okay. It's electric and fairy, but I feel like because it's just so plain, there's still a lot more that could be done for this one, unfortunately. Polarion is nice. It's very nice. I do like it. I think the best part about this, though, is the name, because Polar works for ice and for electric typing. Bircheon's kind of cool. Fire and grass type. It's kind of like a different version of Leafeon, so definitely inspired by nature and trees and stuff like that. I feel like it's lacking on the fire side a little bit, though. Flareon is very cool as well. Fairy and grass type. Definitely got inspirations for plants. I love the spiky thorn vines around it, and obviously lots of petals as well, which look really, really nice. So out of all these dual typings, it's kind of hard to choose. I do really like the 4 in the bottom left. They might be some of my favorite ones. They look really, really cool, and I love the way that they evolve as well. It's interesting. Next, we've got some holiday related ones. So I wanted to really show this Eevee off, because you know in Pokemon Go how if it's like a special event and they just put a hat on the Pokemon. Imagine instead of getting a hat on an Eevee, you got something like Gifteon. I love the many links to Christmas here with the tree and the star and the holly and the Santa looking hat on its head. Very, very cool. I love it. It is a grass and ice type, which makes sense. And the next one, we've got a few Valentine's ones coming up now. They're all dual types. They're all dual with a fairy. So we've got a psychic and fairy here. Relation, based on relationships, obviously. Passion, I think, is a fantastic name, like passion. Romeon is very cool. This is probably one of my favorite Valentine's ones, because obviously based on Romeo, and it's got like a bouquet of flowers as the tail, which is very cool. A little bow tie. Brocchion looks very sad. Obviously, the other side of potential Valentine's Days. We've got another sad one, Emotion here, which is like a Vaporeon, but a sad version, unfortunately. And then we've got Bondion, which I think is a really nice name, especially because it looks like an Umbreon, and you have to bond with your Umbreon at night to be able to evolve it. But it's got like the infinity symbol on its forehead and on its tail. Cupidion is very cool as well, obviously based on Cupid. And the tail is insane. I absolutely love the tail because it's like a bow and arrow, but it's also electric inspired as well. And out of all of these, oh, it's hard to choose. I love Romeo. I love the Romeo one. I love the Cupid one. And I love Gifteon, the Christmas ones. They're my top 3. There are a lot of fantastic evolutions in there. And I'd love for you to tell me in the comments below which were your favorites. Thanks for checking it out, guys. Subscribe for more Pokemon content. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.